Ethos.
Remember a time when your life was simple? Maybe that time was a long time ago, but maybe you got a glimpse of it during an extended vacation where you woke up without an alarm, with no agenda for the day. What if life could be simple all the time? Simple doesn't mean easy. It just means clear, easy to understand. And I think that's possible because we all tend to overcomplicate things in our own ways, but with a little curiosity, you can simplify your life. This is the Next Simple Step podcast. I'm Paul Goldsmith. Instead of worrying about what might happen or what might not work or how it might all go wrong, instead ask yourself what might be possible. That's what this podcast is all about, taking the next simple steps to fulfill your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, and to live a more simple life. Taking into account that you're a human being, not a human doing, you can't nor should you try to do it all. And so it's important that you have balance and alignment in your life, that you get enough sleep, that you get proper rest and exercise. In the previous episode, we talked a lot about the foods that we eat. Today, I want to talk about movement, specifically about running a marathon, because truly running a marathon is simple, not easy, but there's just 3 simple steps to running a marathon, and I'll tell you what they are. The first, sign up for a marathon and pay the fees. Second step, buy some special shoes. Now that's important. Don't skip buying the shoes. And step 3, tell people you're going to run a marathon. It's as simple as that. Now, I realize that it sounds like I'm oversimplifying it, and maybe you don't even want to run a marathon. Fair enough, but I think this might still be beneficial to you because no matter what your creative goals are, getting proper amounts of exercise and movement are critical for your physical and mental well-being. And maybe you have no desire to run a marathon. That's okay. Maybe a 5K is more in your wheelhouse. That's actually how I got into marathons, and it wasn't me, it was my wife. She downloaded an app called Couch to 5K and got into running 5Ks for fun, which didn't sound like a lot of fun to me because I didn't consider myself a runner. I'd never run a race, but I saw how much fun my wife was having running 5Ks. So I signed us both up for a marathon. In fact, one of the elite marathons, as it turns out, I had no idea. I signed us up for the Chicago Marathon. You actually have to qualify for that marathon, but they have a lottery for a certain number of people that don't qualify. And lo and behold, Marianne and I won the lottery. And so when she got the email notifying her that she had been accepted to run the Chicago Marathon, it was a surprise to her and a delight to me. And to her credit, she went through it. And the first thing we did was go to a running shoe store, Fleet Feet, and buy running shoes. I had no idea there was a special store just for running shoes, but there is. And there's something special about having a dedicated tool, in this case, shoes, that every time you get out, you're working toward a goal. I had no idea if we could actually do it or finish, but we committed to it, and it wasn't fast. They usually cut marathons off at the 6-hour mark, so the goal was really to finish in under 6 hours, and we did. Not by much, but we did finish, and it felt great. I caught the bug at that point. Marianne did not. So the next year, I cut it in half and signed us up for a half marathon. But the thing is, it wasn't in Chicago. It was actually where we were living at the time in central Pennsylvania in Hershey, PA. And funny thing, once you do something once, you think, oh yeah, I'm a pro at this. And so I didn't train nearly as hard for the Hershey half, and it hurt. It was not easy. Hershey has a lot more hills than Chicago. So that's something to take into account if you're going to go run a race, figuring out the topography, knowing the amount of hills. But that's kind of the fun of it, is figuring these things out as you go, one step at a time. And if you're thinking, no way could I run a marathon, I could barely even run down the block, then I'd encourage you to check out my conversation, a previous episode of this podcast a few months back with Eliza Miron. She's got a daily run streak going every single day for a run for 19 years. Maybe you're on streak day 0 and you don't know where to start, but you'd like to get moving. Here's your next simple step from Eliza.
you can still create your own streak and incorporate walking. I think it's just as good as a daily run to get out for at least 1 mile walk. But if you're working up to running full mile, you could start run 1 minute, walk 1 minute, run 1 minute, and kind of like make those intervals until maybe you're able to like build into like a full mile.
If you do decide to start running or run a race, let me know. I'd love to cheer you on. You can reach out. I'm on Twitter or Instagram, Paul J. Goldsmith, or you can text me, 559-574-3210. Thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you next time on the Next Simple Step Podcast.